Candyland is a very simple idea that was perfectly executed.
It's sort of become folklore here.
Candyland started in 2008 in December. I actually had a full head of hair.
This is one of the first things that I ever worked on, being part of the toy practice.
We were celebrating the 60th anniversary of the game.
We looked at all the data, and all the data that existed led us to the characters, and it led us to the fantasy worlds that existed within the Candyland game.
With Bring Your Kid to Work Day, we decided to have a brainstorm.
Kids are awesome to brainstorm with because there's no idea that's off the table.
The children really weren't interested in the different characters.
Most of the kids couldn't name the characters, they couldn't tell you what the different fantasy worlds were, but they all remembered the multicolored path.
We realized, you know what, we made a huge mistake.
We needed to bring the path to life if we were really going to embody what it was that the children loved about the game. So then we put all the adults in the room. And as we were going through this, Big Murph kept going, you know, it kind of looks like Lombard Street.
Hey, what about Lombard Street?
Everyone else is still talking. Brian just says again, this looks just like Lombard Street.
Oh, seriously? Nah, whatever.
Murph threw the image of Lombard Street up on the big screen in the conference room.
Guys, what about Lombard Street? At that point, the room stopped.
Holy it looks just like Lombard Street.
So how do you take this iconic street that's known worldwide and turn it into an iconic board game?
When we went and asked to close Lombard Street, the answer we got was absolutely no way you will ever close Lombard Street.
We can't use Lombard Street.
We refused to take no for an answer.
It had to be Lombard Street.
Lombard Street's budget was in a deficit, and Big Murph stood up and said, "How'd you like your debt to go away?"
That's fake news. Didn't happen.
We made a nice little donation to the association as a gesture of goodwill.
And just like that, we got permission to use Lombard Street.
After everything had started, a San Francisco cop came up to me and he looked me right in the face and said, "You don't have permission to be here." And I looked at him and I said, "Sir, do you think I woke up today and decided to turn the street into Candyland without permission?"
Literally, we had to turn this thing around in 10 hours from start to finish. So we had to build it and we had to break it down within a 10-hour time span because, again, they're residents who live on the street and they need to be able to come and go.
We had not only Lombard Street closed, we had the street at the top of the hill and the bottom of the hill completely closed off.
So we had a video team, we had a still photography team, we had a production team, we had the PR team, we had security, the whole 9 yards. So in total, we're probably 50 people.
I think it's the closest to a movie set I'll ever get. We do some early morning shoots starting at the 6 a.m. morning news.
Next thing you know, I turn around and all the media just disappears.
And I remember there was breaking news that morning, which is the worst thing that could possibly happen on an event day.
That's hard news that needs to be covered.
There were helicopters overhead at one point, and we all thought it was because of the breaking news, and then we all realized that they were there for our event and there to see Candyland.
You know it's going to be a successful event when you look up and you see helicopters from all the news stations literally fighting for airspace.
4 or 5 helicopters constantly circling around.
I hope nobody crashes.
And we just kind of all stopped and looked at each other and were like, wow, this is, something really big.
And the really cool thing about the event itself is we were able to incorporate kids, the University of San Francisco Children's Hospital.
Which really tied into the game itself because the game was created by a woman who wanted to create a diversion for kids who were in hospitals.
These kids, some of them extremely ill, but with the help of nurses and whatnot, were actually able to play the game.
People started getting wind of the fact that this was happening, and they were lining the steps of Lombard Street too deep. And they were there to watch the game, and they were watching the kids and singing happy birthday, so it really created more of a spectacle and a bigger moment than just being for the media.
And then always with an event, it's will this get coverage?
Instantaneous worldwide coverage.
We had about 800 broadcasts that covered this event.
It was on every national news feed, international coverage in other languages.
It was Yahoo's photo of the day, I think 2 days in a row, which is saying something.
And the great thing was, not only was this a great event to publicize the 60th of Candyland, but the brand saw a double-digit increase in some of their big box retailers.
Without any other marketing, without any other support.
So it was really PR that drove the sales of this game.
Brian Murphy, if you haven't already heard my name, Brian Murphy.
I'll have to kind of go through this again.
Wait, let me do that again.
And toy team's dumb.
I'm kind of meandering here.
This sucks. Wait, let me start over.
Is Tom in this Candyland one?
I got in a fight with a cop. You'll hear. He walked dead up to me and goes, "You don't have permission to be here."